Hello, hello, and welcome. This is Joyce Didison, and we are welcoming you this morning to the Dis-Ease Release Show. I am so excited that you've chosen to join us this morning. I want to talk to you about dis-ease and how easy it is for us to find ourselves in a state of dis-ease. You know, this morning I was in the bathroom, I was putting on my makeup, and I sensed the dis-ease in my tummy, like it was right in that pelvis area, and I felt it, and I was like, oh, that's that's where it's lodged this morning. And that, all of us, this is something we're all struggling with. All of us are going to have this ease in our body, but we have to find it. We have to single it out. So my first question was, of course, where is it coming from? It didn't just magically lodge into my pelvic area without a cause, without something driving it there. And you see, often what would normally happen is that we would go and just meditate, and we would do visualization and just expect it to magically disappear. But I mean, that breathing, deep breathing and meditating is good and absolutely something that we should all do. But the reality is, most of us leave it at that. We're not dealing with the real issue. And one of the things that I do with the dis-ease release technique is to say, now, where is that coming from? Right? And I had to go and do some mental retracking to say, okay, where is that coming from? I got it. This is what's happening. This is where it's coming from. And this is what I need to do. So you see, what happened yesterday is I had sent off some stuff, some bills to be paid, and then went into my bank account and found out that they hadn't been paid. And I was like, I'm sure I don't have Alzheimer's. I know I did. So call the bank, and they're like, oh, we don't know how that happened. And I'm like, okay. What is going on? Do we have a phantom of the opera in the bank, in my bank account? So of course I haven't heard back from them. They're going to look into it and get back to me. And I know it's just a simple misunderstanding. She maybe just have mistaken my account or my request, or probably does something that for one account over the other. I don't know what it is. In any event, I was up late last night because my hubby worked late and I was up late. And this morning I decided, I was going to get into the office early because I have a deadline. I have a project that I need to get off my desk today. And so all of those thoughts running through my mind, and the dis-ease lodged itself in my pelvic. And when you talk about the pelvic, as women, we have to be very, very careful, and guys too, because if you see the rate of prostate cancer, that has been on the rise, right? Because we're not paying attention to the dis-ease. We see the rate of cervical cancer and colon cancer and all of these. So a lot of us carry our stress in the pelvic area, right? You see all the ovarian cancer, all the, we see all of those, because what happens when that dis-ease is there, of course, it tenses up. And until I pay attention and release it, but I could go to physio, like I do pelvic floor physiotherapy, I do massage, I do chiropractor, but I can go to those and I will get a temporary relief until I deal with the root cause of the problem. It remains there. And this is where we go into the WIS model to look at what is going on, what is happening, And how am I doing? How well am I doing in this particular area of my life, right? How well am I doing? How are the circumstances and issues in these areas of my life affecting me and causing dis-ease in my body? So important, we have to pay attention to those things, because when we don't, we end up getting in trouble. We end up with disease and a range of diseases that are caused by that. And if you know anything about how our body works, is that by working through our process with our bodies, when we tense up and we have dis-ease, we're going to tense, and then that restricts the blood flow that's going to those parts of our bodies. And you have to ask yourself, why are you hearing Sam, Joe, Harry, uncle this, uncle that, cousin this have prostate cancer? It's because we're not paying attention to the dis-ease and where it's come from, and we're not dealing with the root cause. And so part of dealing it could be a coaching session where you work with someone to expand your thinking on it, to come up with options and opportunities and ways to deal with those situations. Too often, we spend our time thinking about what can I do and how do I do it? And we are only depending on our minds and ourselves to do it. So if you think of what are the circumstances that you're facing right now. So when you go through the WIS model, the Wellness Improvement System is a system, and it's an assessment, that's first part of it, that helps you to identify in all of these dimensions of your life how well you're doing. And when you go through, you're going to assess how well you're doing spiritually, socially, emotionally, occupationally, intellectually, environmentally, financially, physically, and interpersonally. So when we do that, when we dissect it like that, we have a clearer to what's happening. We can see better what is happening by just taking those specific areas into those specific dimensions, and we do an inside view as to what's happening there. How am I feeling? How am I responding? How well am I doing in that area? And what can I do to improve my wellness in those areas? And so by talking with someone, by going through an objective process where we can look at our situation and assess by just quantifying, it's a very simple assessment. All you need to do is add a figure, right? You quantify it with a number on a scale of 1 to 10. And that gives you a very clear, concise range that you can identify, this is how well I'm doing in this area. And then you can actually step back and start assessing, okay, so based on that, how am I doing? Where is that showing up as dis-ease for me? How is that showing up as dis-ease? Where in my life is this showing up as dis-ease? Where is it showing up in my body? Where is it showing up in my relationship? Yes, in your relationship, you find yourself more irritated. You find yourself more short. You find yourself reacting, making harsh judgments, thinking negative thoughts about others. Envy, jealousy, all of those things are part of where it's showing up. It's the dis-ease in ourselves that's leading to these other feelings and those emotional. And another tool that I have that you can use that's completely free is the emotional cleanse, by identifying the things that you need to cleanse from yourself, the things you need to take out of your life, the things you need to put back into your life. Very, very important, because it gives you an opportunity to remove those things from your life, but identify them, name them, face them. Similarly, like we say, face your fears, we're saying face those dis-ease, face those things that you're uncomfortable with. Look at them, because they're far less scary when you come up close and personal to them than you think. They're not as scary as you think. It really, really is true. When we face them, when we look at them, they're not as scary. In my situation, we're going to figure out what happened and we can fix it, right? And the worst case scenario is that there isn't enough cash left over because we think those ones are already paid. But hey, we will work that out too. It's not the end of the world. The reality is those things happen. Circumstances will happen. It's about the thought process. They trigger in our mind, and with the thoughts, the feelings we let harbor in our bodies, and the dis-ease that comes from that sit in our body, and that dis-ease is going to lead to ill health if we don't deal with it and get rid of it. But it's no more than just yoga and meditation. I have nothing against yoga, meditation, going to the chiropractor, going to physio, going to massage. Those are very important. You need to do them. But you also need to do the internal work that helps you to identify where are those coming from, what's happening, what's the cause, and how do I deal with it. That's critically important, and it's something that we should all do in a daily basis. So one of the things we do with the WIS model, the Wellness Improvement System, we call it WIS, because we want you to be a whiz in your life. I want you to be a whiz at what you do. You have to be a whiz at dealing with these situations, these circumstances that life are going to throw. They're going to throw. Life is going to come at you, and you have to step back and say, okay, this is a circumstance. It is not me. This is something I'm seeing, something I'm facing, something that's happening in and around me. And now I need to now think about the thoughts I'm going to have about it. I had taught a webinar the other day on the 5 health and wellness benefits of optimism. And in there, I was teaching, and I had about 50 employees from the province, from government, who came onto that webinar. And that was something they were very surprised that when you're optimistic, that there are so many health benefits to being optimistic. And that was something that I was sharing with them, that when you face a circumstance, you have a choice as to whether you're going to think negative thoughts about it or you're going to think positive thoughts about it. And I'm going to share an example with you. Like yesterday, I had a call with our new team that we brought on, and the coach I'm working with, that's working with me for our project, told me, I'm going to send you something momentarily. And that was like around noon. And around 7 o'clock in the evening, 7 p.m., I hadn't received it. And I thought, well, what's going on here? So I had 2 choices. This was a circumstance because I had made time to do this, right? To complete this, because I'm a person, if I'm working on a project, I'm serious about it. I have a time frame, I have a goal, and we're going through it. And I'm like, this is a coach. I expect this to be happening. You can't promise me you're going to send me something momentarily and it can't be hit. But then I had 2 choices. I had to think, okay, what's going on? It's either he sent it and I didn't receive it, or he forgot, or something came up and I need to send him a reminder. So I can send a reminder saying, hey, I didn't get this. What's going on? Or I could say, not sure if you had my right email address. Or I could say, you promised me something and you didn't send it. I don't like that. There are lots of choices, but I had to choose which thought I was going to go with. And the thought that was comfortable for me, the thought that freed me from dis-ease, was the thought that, it's very possible that he has already sent it, and, it might have just gotten lost in cyberspace. So let me just try. And, I looked and I'm like, he did email me. He does have my email address, but who knows? So I sent the email. I said, hey, Matt, I just noticed that I haven't received the document you promised to send me. And it's now evening, and I was really hoping that I could finish it up tonight. So just checking in. He sent an email back. wow, I sent this directly after our call. I don't know what happened, but here it is again. Easy peasy. Had I gone into judgment, had I gone with the other thought that, he's falling down on the job, he's not making a good impression, I would have created a tense situation because he would have received that email and it would not be in a good frame. He would have received that email and he'd be like, oh my gosh, I sent it. I'm upset that woman. Now I have to, and so it would not be a good place for us to go from here. But with the choice that I made, the thoughts that I made in this particular circumstance led to the action, right? The feeling of being in a place of non-judgment, being in a place of curiosity, and sending that in and say, hey, not quite sure what's happening, but here is where I'm at. And I was wondering, just checking in. And so now I can say, oh, thank you. I have received it. Thank you for resending it. Case done, not another thought. I gone on to do my work. He's gone on to do his work. Our next meeting is positive. None of us have to apologize or feel bad or any of those things. And that's what often happens in our workplaces and our working relationships, even in our families. We go right off with a negative judgment. We assume the worst. And that's because we're not controlling our thoughts. Our thoughts that say, why did that person not do this? Why didn't he do that? And why are they doing that? And I'm tired of doing that. And that thought creates this ease in our bodies and leads us to take on the wrong thought, the wrong feeling, right? It's triggering the wrong feelings. And the words, which is the action that we're taking, are combative, they're judgmental, they're resentful, and we're creating a sense of dis-ease for ourselves. We're passing on, rather, the sense of dis-ease that we're experiencing with others. And so we're sharing our dis-ease with others. So no wonder our world is so sick, and so many of us are getting sick because on a daily basis, we're sharing our dis-ease with others. And the only way we can free ourselves from dis-ease is to live in a vacuum. And because man shall not live alone, and we're designed to live in communities and in relationships, we need to tap into and start recognizing the thoughts that's causing dis-ease in our body, and then recognizing where is it coming from. And then we do a deeper level of work by looking at what am I doing? What am I saying? How am I showing up in these dimensions of my life that's causing dis-ease in my body and in my mind? And look at the amount of mental health disease, the rampant increase in mental health disease is because of the dis-ease thoughts that we're holding on to. And it's so important for us to let go of those diseased thoughts so we're not creating disease for others and diseases in our bodies. There is such a correlation between those diseased thoughts and the diseases that we're facing. The rampant and increase in diseases is really related to the disease in our body. They are the same. They spell the same. They look the same. They feel the same. And one is causing ill health and death. And that's what it's leading to. And we need to start waking up and paying attention and not sharing all of that dis-ease that we're having in our life and with others, because life is short and precious, and we need to come up with a plan to live it well. So this is Joyce Edison. I want to wish you a great day, and I wish you much happiness, that you work well, live well, and play well today, and release dis-ease in your mind, in your body. Watch your thoughts, cleanse your emotions, because it is so amazingly important to do that. Take care, be well, and see you next time. Of course, don't forget to check out my website, joyceodidison.com, and of course, interpersonalwellness.com, where you can learn more about dealing with dis-ease in our minds and in our bodies and in our lives, in our workplace relationships, in our groups, and all the resources and tools we have to make that possible. Take care and be well. Bye now.